Welcome to Multifamily Live.
I'm Keely Arusi.
And I'm Jason Yarusi. Our mission is to help you unlock your full potential as a multifamily real estate investor.
So you can do more deals, bigger deals, with less stress, keep more profit, and free up your time.
Multifamily doesn't have to be a mystery. It's time to go live.
Aloha, everyone. Welcome back to Multifamily Live. I am super excited to introduce our guest to you. His name is Marcus Long. Welcome, Marcus.
Thanks so much, Peely. I'm grateful to be here today, and thanks for sharing your space with me.
Fantastic. So Marcus is a husband, father of a 7 and 4-year-old, and an active duty naval officer currently stationed in England with over 20 years of service. Thank you so much, Marcus. Using real estate as a vehicle, he is passionate about creating an impact that will live beyond his own life within his family, the communities that he invests in, and the causes he supports. He is committed to creating options for his family through time, financial, and geographic freedom, and thrives on helping others create those options as well. Marcus is the founder of a long legacy, great name, in which he delivers education through his experiences, provides resources and investment opportunities, and inspires others to achieve financial freedom, make an impact, and leave a legacy. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you so much, Peely.
So Marcus, never mind your 20 years of service, which is incredible. Again, thank you so very much. What brought you to real estate?
Yeah, so it was kind of a slow journey in the beginning, to be honest with you. So I enlisted in the Navy right out of high school, literally at boot camp, about 3 weeks out of high school. And a few years later, I was fortunate to be selected for a commissioning program, and I was sent back to the University of Missouri and to get my commission as an officer. And while I was there, I bought a condo to live in and house hacked it before I knew what house hacking was. And I spent 3 years there getting my degree. And when I left, I kept that property as a rental, and I actually still own it today. And so that was in 2004 timeframe. And, it wasn't super intentional at the time, but over years, reading a few books, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad and others of that nature, I started picking up a few single family properties and things like that in Missouri, primarily where I'm from, and bought a cattle farm and some other things. And so 2016-ish, I, started picking up the pace a little bit, worked with my brothers to accumulate a few. And, for the first probably 15 years of, I guess, my real estate journey, just picking up some single family buying holds initially.
That is an amazing start. So how did you start getting into multifamily? You started unintentionally getting into real estate, getting into single family holds. Now tell us a little bit about how that journey went from, and you're in England too, so you're investing out of country. How does a person go about doing that? Is it a scary proposition? Okay, before we go into the future and go into multifamily, how does your real estate holdings look like now?
Yeah, so I guess when I moved to, this is an interesting part of the story, because when I moved to England 2 years ago, I owned about 15 single family buy and holds, a couple small commercial properties, and like I said, a cattle farm and stuff. Today, I still have those properties, as well as probably about I've invested passively in about 400 units in syndications, and just getting ready, in the next week or so, closing on another property that will put us at about close to 200 units this year as an active GP on syndications. And also in that time have been a private lender on 10 or 15 projects and stuff like that as well. So it's kind of interesting after a long, slow start, the trajectory and how it sped up, my investments after moving to England 2 years ago.
That is amazing. So that just goes to show you shouldn't let anything stop you from taking those steps forward, whether it is a personal setback or if you move out of the country. I mean, how is that? You moved out of the country and all of a sudden your portfolio and your life within real estate starts growing exponentially. So let's dive into multifamily. I know that you just took down your first multifamily. Tell us a little bit about that and some of the steps you took to get there.
Yeah, 100%. So, our first, my first multifamily property that I was able to partner with was a 100 unit. We closed on in July in Pryor, Oklahoma, just outside of Tulsa. And so, I mean, it was pretty exciting for myself. And, got some people ask like, hey, how was that your first one and things? And it's part of that whole like journey, that we talked about like 2 years ago when I moved to England. I had joined another mastermind for active duty and veterans, investing in real estate and stuff. And that's kind of really what initially started, expanding my mindset and stuff. Up to that time, I was single family buy and hold. I started getting exposed to some different strategies. And that's when I invested with a few other people within that mastermind passively in multifamily. And that's where I also met some of my initial partners that I partnered with on this 100 unit deal. So, we meet on a weekly basis and had started kind of talking about multifamily. And over time, it just like that strategy and stuff seemed more fitting for the things that I was trying to do as far as for my own family's financial future, but also the impact that I wanted to have on more people and stuff as well. And so that's kind of how I, was able to partner with others to get into a deal like that this year.
So why multifamily? Because you could have simply stayed in the single family space. It sounded like you were getting very, very good traction. Why did you take that leap into multifamily?
Yeah, I think for me, when I started like learning about multifamily and when I look at it, the number of vectors that we are able to have an impact is pretty awesome, right? Like all the way from the beginning, and like the residents that live in the apartments or whatever type of units they are that we buy, being able to have an impact on them. So every time, like when we're looking at opportunities to acquire new properties, we look at like how in our business plan can we impact their lives, whether it is, upgrading unit type stuff, new amenities, whether it's events that we can hold for them, things like that. And trying to, we understand like this is a home for those people. And, we want to, create an investment for our investors, but we also want to provide a better life for the residents that live there. And, kind of moving on, like the investment opportunity, which you can do it from single family or multifamily, but, for our own family and the freedom that I'm trying to provide and the options I'm trying to provide for my family, it created a lot of flexibility. Obviously, you see that I'm doing this from England. So if I can do it with a phone and a computer from England, I can do it anywhere in the world, which, creates a lot of options for our family. And ultimately, we want to give back and stuff to others, whether that's our profits or our time that we create and stuff. And so it just created a lot of opportunity, from the beginning of the investment, those that live there for our family and for those that we can impact on the backside. And that's part of the reason that multifamily just it allowed me to scale that in a quicker way than I felt like I could do in the single family space.
I am of the same mindset. Multifamily has definitely allowed us to scale in so many different ways, not just like in unit count, not just in just what we're able to do, but who we're able to help, right? We're able to help more investors. We're able to help more of our tenants. We're able to raise more communities and give people a cleaner, safer place to live. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and that was really, exciting to me, both from, the number of the people that live there that we talked about, and stuff, and how we can impact their lives. And then, talking about the other people that we can help as well. Like so many times people think it's just like super uber wealthy people that own these apartment complexes. And it was exciting to me to be able to bring in like my friends, my family and stuff to be a part of those investments and stuff as well, and help them on their financial journey as well.
Isn't it exciting to be able to help those people who never thought that they'd be an owner, an investor in a large apartment complex, and you can show them pictures. They can walk the hallways, they can walk the building, and they can say, you know, I own a part of this. I'm actually helping these people take these next steps. So while we're on the topic of helping people and how multifamily allows us to do that, before we jump into your latest deal, I would love to know how you're doing that. How are you taking those steps and helping people in their journey and helping people? Because I know I see here you're a part of some nonprofits and you're the founder of a long legacy. So how are you helping people?
Yeah, I think again, that goes back to like the different vectors and stuff, and the ways, like we look when we're acquiring the property at the different ways we can help the people that live there. And so, I won't go into a lot of detail based on the time and stuff, but we talked about some of them earlier, whether it's like even like moving washer and dryer, something as simple as moving a washer and dryer like into the unit from a laundry facility. And like if they're able to do that, then they can spend more time with their families versus being at the laundry facility, or things of that nature. We're adding new amenities, barbecue grills, whatever, for them to have a like comfortable place to live, right? And so for the residents, that's one way. For our investors, like I said, like family, friends, many of my investors on my first couple properties have been people that I've been stationed with over the past 20 years, other military, government civilians and DoD contractors and stuff that I've worked with that, they knew I was doing some real estate, talking through my single family stuff. And now, being in the multifamily space, I have an opportunity to bring them along with me, something that they didn't probably realize, many of them, that they had an opportunity to do. And so giving them another option, an investment option. Sometimes people's, they're limited to, the market or different things that they think that they can invest in. And so just kind of providing that education and informing them of other options, to help them make an impact for their family and also, stabilize their financial future and stuff as well. And then, like I said, like we very, very passionate about giving back. And that's a lot of what's driving me to scale as I get closer to the end of my naval career is, finding a way to give back and make an impact in a bigger way. And so, on my website, you've probably seen a number of nonprofits, that in 2021, we are committed to giving a portion of our profits to, and we're still kind of looking outside of that at new opportunities to do. And so, but giving money and giving our profits is only like one piece of giving back and stuff. And really, I want to give my time and stuff as well. And so, as I get closer to, financial freedom and not having to have a W-2 and that kind of stuff, then I'm able to give more of my time to go volunteer and, actually spend time with those organizations that we support. So the organizations right now that we're supporting, anywhere from, veteran community things to some nonprofits in Africa, building schools and homes and things like that. So we kind of have a broad spectrum of things that we like to support, but very passionate about giving back from what we have.
I love it. And that's how it should be. You are a part of Seven Figure Multifamily and Seven Figure Flipping. And we just came out with the Seven Figure Foundation. So we are hoping, and we are doing that. We're going to do the same thing that you're doing. Because we were giving. Now we're able to give in such a way that we can control how and where we give to as a company. So it's the same. It's almost like we're taking a page out of your book.
Yeah, and I was very grateful to be in Orlando this week at the launch of the Seven Figure Foundation, and excited at the opportunity to be to be able to give and be a part of that, the initial contribution to launch the foundation.
And I am excited that you are part of that initial contribution as well. Something else I need to thank you for, Marcus. So now let's segue over to your latest deal, how you are able to contribute to the world, to contribute to these nonprofits, to contribute to these countries, these states, to people in general who need help. You are able to do this because you are in multifamily, because you are the type of person you are and you're very giving. But how are you able to do that? And let us know by letting us know about your latest deal. So give us a little bit of some metrics and let us know how it's going so far.
And so the first deal, that I was alluding to, the 100 unit in Prior that we closed on in July, we've been about 3.5 months in now, and it's actually going very well. Obviously time will tell and stuff, but we're very excited about where we are right now. And I was actually just back in Tulsa last week. I got to meet some of my partners at the property and walk the property for the first time. It's the first time I've been there in person, so that was pretty exciting. And we got to work with our property managers and kind of walk around with them and see the work that they've been doing. We're right around 95% occupancy, pretty steady. And so some of the things that we've been doing is, every month turning over some of the units, kind of upgrading, new appliances and ceiling fans and things of that nature, the washer dryers that I mentioned. We've been putting in, barbecue grills and new picnic tables, and it's in Oklahoma, so there's storms and tornadoes and hail and stuff, so we're working on putting in some covered parking and stuff to protect the residents' vehicles. And we actually, it's a nice property where there's a couple 2-story apartment buildings, but there's also 12 garden style quadplexes, so there's quite a bit of like green space in the area. And we're actually looking at, there's a pretty good sized green space that we're walking. We've worked with our lenders and talking to some developers, and we're actually looking to develop some additional quadplexes, a couple additional quadplexes in that space to increase the unit count and add more units for the community, and better net operating income for our investors and stuff as well.
That is an amazing value add, especially if you can parcel out a part of your green space to add more value. I mean, talk about adding value to a building by just simply creating more units. So thank you for walking through that, Marcus. So before I let you go, Marcus, is there something like a phrase or a book or something that you have to tell my listeners about?
Yeah, so I think that the concept, I guess, is, you can go read the book like Tribe of Millionaires or Go Giver. Those are a couple, that I enjoy. And like the concept of Tribe of Millionaires, right, I think is something that's been really big for me over the past, couple of years, as I've kind of stepped into some of these masterminds and coaching and stuff that, you could try to do some of this stuff alone. And that's what I was doing for the better part of 15 years when I was doing the single family stuff. And as I've moved into multifamily, it's very much a team sport, right? And so I've had the opportunity to step in and be a part of these teams acquiring 100 plus unit properties, by working together, by partnering, and surrounding myself with other incredible individuals. And the coaching piece, you look at Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, all these professional athletes, like they had coaches, right? They invested in themselves and in coaches. And so if they did, even at the level that they were performing at, I think that we also should invest in ourselves and in coaches. And so I think those are a couple of concepts there that I would probably share with others is, if you're kind of sitting back and you're like, oh, I can, just watch YouTube or read a few books, and you can learn from all of those things. But you will never progress at the rate if you start to surround yourself and work with other people and invest in yourself through coaches.
I love it, Marcus. So if there's anyone out there that wants to invest in themselves through coaches, please check out 7-Figure Multifamily. Marcus is a part of it. I'm one of the coaches and founders. It is a group, it is a mastermind where we get to up level each other, where we're honored to have investors like Marcus Long and like everyone else that has joined us be together so we can uplift each other and so we can continue to support those nonprofits and those people that need our support. So Marcus, thank you so very much for coming on. I'm super grateful.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And for everyone who's listening out there, I am so grateful to you as well. If you loved what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And have an amazing day. Aloha.